buyout market, we were just talking to a caller, Ray, who brought up Kevin Love. They were talking about Kevin Love, I believe, earlier on a show today. I know the morning show was talking about Kevin Love. Serge Ibaka is another name that is coming up on the buyout market. And again, Kevin Love needs to be bought out, right? I don't even know if that's officially happened, but it's probably going to.
It has not yet officially happened, but they're negotiating now.
So do you have to hide Kevin Love on defense, and shouldn't any single deal that the Warriors make be a defensive-focused deal at this particular time? Kinda and kinda. I'll only say that because, to me, Kevin Love is a little intriguing. He is a stretch 4. He is 8 points. He's 7 rebounds a night right now. He's appeared in 41 games in the first half for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which means he's got an ability that the Warriors must really be impressed by. Availability. He is out there. He dresses. He plays. He's a consistent. You do have to hide him occasionally, defensively. We all know that. But he's a rebound. This team could use help rebounding. He's a good free throw shooter. This team could use someone to get to the line and shoot some free throws. And I think Kevin Love is a guy who would come in here as a smart IQ guy and get it. I'm a lot more interested in Kevin Love than I would be in, say, Serge Ibaka, who is the other name out there, and we'll talk about him in a second. What do you think of Kevin Love?
That he won't come here because Miami already is waiting. They have more money to offer. And according to Ira Winderman of the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, who's covered the Heat forever, they can offer him starters minutes. And between more money and being able to start, that seems like an easy choice for him.
So, first of all, if you want to win, I guess it's hard to make a come to the Warriors argument right now.
Well, it's not that easy to make a...
But do you think Kevin Love, even necessarily at this point in his career, wants starter minutes? More money, sure. Starter minutes might be a workload he might not even really be interested in at this point in time in his long-in-the-tooth career. So I don't know if that's the motivator, but if you got more money and you got an easier path to success just waiting in Miami, that could be tough to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's going to make the playoffs because they're going to win their division. So that's sort of off the table. Secondly, it's hard to imagine that Kevin Love at 34 wouldn't want to start again. And the more money thing, well, that's just math. So I think while he would be intriguing in the abstract, I think there are teams that can offer more in the concrete. And frankly, that's the problem the Warriors have in general, because I don't know that Gary Payton would have been the first choice for them in the trade market anyway. I think they probably had their eyes on other guys. And it fell to them to get Payton because by happenstance, he was unhappy in Portland and wanted to come back. And the Warriors were having a dickens of a time getting other teams interested in James Wiseman. And they didn't want anything that the Pistons had for a straight-up deal.
What do you think of Serge Ibaka then?
I think he's kind of washed.
I do too. He's 4-3. He's only appeared in 16 games. Look, we all know that he's an intelligent backline defender, but how much can he even move at this point? And if he had real value, why would Milwaukee be walking away? Milwaukee's good. And when you're a good team, a guy who can give you 8 to 12 very good defensive minutes becomes very important. So why would they walk away from an important role player if he had an important role to play? I don't know if Ibaka is the right move. Kevin Love, as you said, if Miami is preordained, that's going to be tough to compete with. I've also heard that his affinity for LeBron James, if he were to come to the West Coast, might pull him to L.A. on a buyout market. So there you go. By the way, welcome, boys and girls, one and all, to your 4 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Postman in Capitola, a few other people have weighed in here on the Xfinity Mobile text line and said, wait a minute, but Kevin Love and Klay Thompson, kind of boys from childhood. They're friends. Hey, that's a helpful recruiting tool. But I don't know if that's going to be the difference maker for Kevin Love. I really like Klay Thompson. It would be amazing to finally see the two biggest, like one of the biggest trades the Warriors never made was a possibility for Klay Thompson for Kevin Love. I'm not afraid to say I was on the wrong side of history in that argument. I actually was thinking to myself, yeah, I might make that deal because it's a lot harder to find a guy with Kevin Love's skill than Klay Thompson's skill.
Turns out that it's much harder to find Klay Thompson's skill of off-ball defender and shooter.
Yeah, well, I didn't think we had any idea that Klay Thompson was going to really make an argument for I could be the second best shooter of all time and I'm a really good defender, where Kevin Love was, like a walking 20 and 18 at that point in his life. So,
but also gave up 20 and 18.
He wouldn't give up those 18 rebounds, but the 20, yeah, he did good those. So. Yeah. This is Bob in Marin. Bob, thank you for the call. Thank you for listening. You're on with Damon and Ratto.
Hey, thanks, guys. Enjoying the show. Tremendous job. Can't wait to listen to Tim Kirchin later.
Well, thank you.
I just want to talk about the Warriors. I think there's a lot of calls. Every single time I'm on the road, I listen to this radio station and people call in and talk about how the system needs to change or the Warriors need to do this or they messed up in the front office or the James Wiseman trade was not a good trade. They should have made him play more minutes. Like, all of that is not going to happen. And I think we're just very lucky to have 4 championships in the 8 years that they've made this run. And everything comes to an end. But it comes to an end with the one single most important player in a dynasty. And that has been, in the past, 3 dynasties that we've seen. It's been Michael Jordan, it's been Kobe Bryant, it's been Tim Duncan. Until those players retire, nothing changes. This is about Steph Curry. We're not going to change systems. We're not going to bring guys in that are going to dictate terms on how Steph's going to play ball. This is about playing defense. Once they figure that out, once Andrew gets his legs back, and when Klay starts to move a little bit on the defensive side, they will become that team that everybody fears to play 7 times. It's not going to happen. So let's just gear up. Let's just go, because after this team's going to shape up to be the team that we want it to be.
Bob in Marin, I hope you're right. Like there's a part of me that wants to give this organization the benefit of the doubt, that tells me my own naked eyes are going to be wrong, that there really is, and Bob Myers talked about this, there really will be a switch that they flip, and when we get to brass tacks time, second day in a row of referencing brass tacks, when we get to brass tacks time, they're going to be the team to beat once again, because nobody's ever officially knocked them out of the postseason. Steph, Klay, and Dre together. Bob Myers.
That's the thing you find out, because in the playoffs, there's no resting. You're getting maximum effort. You're getting maximum effort from the coaching staff. You're attacking matchups. You're finding all the weaknesses. Not indifferent than any sport. I mean, in baseball playoffs, all of a sudden, it's 2-1, and the pitcher's going 8 innings instead of 6, and you're pinch hitting and trying to find every tiny angle. You see in the playoffs, 39 minutes instead of 33. It's a huge difference to have a star on the floor for that amount of time. But I shouldn't be talking about the playoffs as if that's preordained. We got to get to the playoffs before any of those questions are answered and hopefully have a good seed. And that's the focus for the next, I think, 24 games.
We'll all find out, and I think we'll know quickly. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about a series. You hop into it, and even though the games aren't necessarily connected, you're going to get a feel for whether the Warriors are like, oh, what do you know? They did go to DEFCON 1, and the war is now underway. Or it's going to be obvious that they don't have enough armory. They don't have enough. They don't have enough defensively to hang with other teams who will be refocusing and cranking. Look at it this way. If the Warriors are taking this year a little bit casually, it's probably not that far of a leap, Ray, to say that other teams are taking it casually a little bit. Not only the defending champ might be taking the year a little casually. If the Warriors are giving up 130 every single time you look up and other teams are taking them casually, what happens when other teams start focusing on cooking the Warriors defensively? What's that, 145 a night? I mean, So the focus of the playoffs isn't only working in the Warriors' favor. It can work against them, too.
Oh, no. I mean, it's the idea that all of a sudden a team that's on the fringes of the play-in are all of a sudden going to become indomitable are damned unlikely. I mean, because the first 58 games give you a pretty good idea of what you are fundamentally. That doesn't mean that the Warriors, and maybe the Warriors would be an exception here because they have the muscle memory of having won before, but they've never won a championship by coming off the pace. They've always gotten off to great starts, and they've either dominated or they've held serve.
And their success on the road has defined them. There is no success on the road to be found at all this year.
Not for anybody, almost. I mean,
but especially for them.
Yeah, no, they've been profoundly bad on the road, but I don't think it's the bad games that define them. I think it's the inconsistent games where you think, we got somebody easy. We can do this. And then they don't. And then the next night they've got somebody tough and they impress the hell out of you. And then the 2 nights after that, they have somebody else tough and you think, well, now they've shown they can do this. And then they get boat raced. It's just, you literally have no idea from night to night what you're getting out of them. It's not like they are consistently bad at anything or consistently great at anything. They are a complete mystery every night. They're a total blank slate. And I think that is the most frustrating thing about them is before you could rely on certain truths about the Warriors. You can't rely about nearly anything about them now. You can rely on Curry. You can rely on Green to be exceptional defensively. After that, what's the sure thing? Looney. That's the third sure thing, which I always forget. But after that, do you know what you're getting? No. Would you bet $5 one way or another on any player doing X on any one game? No. Not unless you hate money.
Well, the whole thing is a coin flip. I mean, they were a sunk 3 and 2 Kuminga free throws away from coming in dead even in terms of points surrendered, points scored so far through 59 games. Anthony Slater pointed it out. 6,878 points scored, 6,873 points allowed. They're 5 points away from being as even Stevens as you can get. Again, they've never been 3 games better than above 500. They've never been more than 4 games below 500. They've never had a winning streak that's gone more than 5 games. No peaks and valleys. Just it's all flatline. They're not extremely good. They're not extremely bad. They're just kind of always in the middle, and in the middle's a tough place to exist, especially in the NBA. This is Mark in San Francisco. Mark, what do you got?
Oh, hey. Question for Ray and you too, man. Who works harder on defense, Steph or Jordan?
I think that Steph Curry has officially earned the answer there, even if it might not be necessarily all the way true. I don't think Jordan Poole isn't working hard defensively. I just don't think he's very good at it. I think Jordan Poole's been playing defense for about 3 years of his life. He was a hot dog at Michigan. He was a hot dog coming out of high school. He was a hot dog early on in his career, and playing defense it's something he needs to be constantly reminded about. I mean, at least that's what the message from his teammates and his coaching staff seem to be over and over and over again. He can lose focus at times. He has to be refocused.
Yeah, I don't think Curry has to be refocused on defense. He has limitations, and he's benefited over the larger part of his career from having Thompson next to him and Green behind him. But I don't think you look at him and say, he's taken this possession off. I mean, he'll get beat on stuff, but it's not because he's decided, I'll just wait till I get the ball back. So yeah, I think the answer to that is Curry is better.